Hey everyone, I'm Jaden,
And I'm Noah.
and we are the Super Gamer Bros. And this is the Super Gamer Bros podcast. We're just a couple of brothers who love playing games and love talking about games, so that's what we do. So today, Noah, Noah, do you know what day it is today that this episode is releasing?
It's Valentine's Day, of course. Happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah, it is Valentine's Day. Um, so we thought, Valentine's Day, day of love and couples and stuff, that we would talk about games, because we are talking about multiple games today, that we both played through with our respective girlfriends, and we thought for our Valentine's Day special here, instead of just talking about what it was like to play with our girlfriends, we would have our girlfriends on the episode. So today we have two very special guests with us. Go ahead and someone introduce yourself first.
I'm Haley, Jaden's girlfriend.
And I'm Paige. I'm Noah's girlfriend.
Is that it?
I don't know. I don't know what else they would say.
Oh
That's pretty much that is who they are.
Pretty much the gist of it.
Oh, what about like
I feel like that was so
experience?
stiff.
What?
What about like gaming experience? Are you gamers? No?
Are you a gamer?
Haley is. I
Can
think.
we only like older games? Like, I don't know. I wouldn't call myself a gamer, but I don't know. I like platforming games more. I'm the newer games that come out, I'm like, oh, this is so in depth. I don't know.
You've been playing Shovel Knight.
Well, yeah, but see, that's a platforming
Well, I mean,
game.
I'm just saying
And
yes,
it's
it is a
older
newer game.
style.
Oh yeah.
Can we do our introductions again?
What was wrong with that?
I felt like we sounded so stiff and awkward.
Nah, it's great. It'll sound better in
Yes.
editing.
Look,
You
you
think-
don't have to talk quietly either. If you're saying something that's not going to go in it, Jaden will just cut it out.
Right, that's why I'm like, it's fine right now because you.
No, I think the intros are fine. No. So anyway, today, the game we're talking about, because we haven't mentioned that yet, we're talking about the Spyro Reignited Trilogy. So I'm sure everyone knows, I imagine, Spyro the Dragon, a very classic, iconic PlayStation mascot, all the way back on the PlayStation 1. And in 2018, I think? Yeah, 2018. His original PlayStation 1 trilogy was remastered on the PS4 and I believe the Xbox One in the Spyro Reignited Trilogy. And Noah, you and I, we never played the original trilogy on PlayStation 1. We were too young. We didn't have it. So the Reignited Trilogy is our first and so far our only experience playing those three games.
I vaguely remember playing Spyro on some sort of Game Boy, maybe.
Yeah, we had a Game Boy Spyro game. I can't say anything about it other than it was a Game Boy Spyro game. But we always knew who Spyro was.
That's true. He was always one of those iconic PlayStation characters. But, outside of PlayStation gamers, I wouldn't really say he's like that well known. He's not like Mario. He's not that famous.
I think I have to disagree. I think, especially with the Skylanders series, which is was helmed by Spyro. I think he's more mainstream. No, you remember Skylanders?
I do.
Yeah.
Paige silently asked what it was, and I'll explain it real quick. Skylanders was a game that came out a few years ago that really bought into the like a physical thing that gets applied into a game. So you buy a toy that looks like a creature, you put it on something that reads it, and you get that character in the game. So you buy the game, and then you have to buy all these other characters.
Webkins did something like that.
Yes, I remember that.
Okay.
No,
Yes.
I don't know.
Yep, I
Um,
love that.
So I think, Haley, you actually did play the original Spyro trilogy on the PlayStation 1.
I did back in what was it, 1998?
That's when, the first one released in 98.
Well, when we got our PlayStation a long time ago, there was a demo disc, and
Oh, the PS1 demo discs, man, those are legendary.
yeah, so they had Spyro. I think they had that medieval game on it.
Oh, medieval.
And I think this was on, and I'm trying to remember back. I should have looked this up, but we got Crash Bandicoot Warped, and I felt like it came with that.
Yeah,
Or
there was a hidden Spyro demo for Spyro
Okay.
the Dragon on Crash Bandicoot Warped in the main menu. You had to put in a code to access it,
okay,
but you
well,
got to play, I think, like 3 of the first levels.
yeah. Well, but we also had an actual disc that I don't know if it came with the PlayStation. I don't know how we got that. I mean, I was like 7 years old, so I don't know. I just remember having that, and I remember seeing commercials for the first Spyro game coming out, like before it came out yet. And then I played that demo, and I wanted it so bad, but I didn't get the game when it first came out. The first Spyro game that I actually got to play, other than that demo, was Ripto's Rage, because I asked for that from my grandma for Christmas. But I just wanted, like, I thought it was so cute. Like, I loved that it was a little dragon, and I loved the demo. So, yeah,
Yeah,
I did play it back. I played the original ones. So it was cool to see, like, how good it looked on the Reignited Trilogy when it came out. 'Cause I was,
So do you think it was very accurate, a remake?
yeah, I like it. I mean, it's been a while since I played the original ones, but it was basically the same except for like kind of the design of some of the characters look different and their voices and stuff. And there's one thing at the end of Spyro 2 that's different that we'll probably get into a little bit later.
yeah, we'll get into that later.
But that's probably the major difference. But I think it's really well done. I like it.
Yeah, I know. It's like anytime there's a remaster of any game, you have people who of people who like play the original. You always have people who love it, people who hate it for one reason or another, because there are always like control differences and stuff to kind of make the game more modern, and like the art is always different. Like I remember when the remaster was first announced, and they did some like side by side videos showing like the original game to the remaster. There were some people complaining that like in one level specifically, like the grass in the original game was like brown, and in the new one it was green.
Yeah.
Small things, small changes
Yeah.
like that.
That's ridiculous.
But
Yeah, that's extra.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
yeah, but I actually was super excited when the Reignited Trilogy was announced, because it was the same with the Insane Trilogy from Crash Bandicoot. I always just had a fascination with those older games that a lot of people say, like define a generation. Like they say that, Crash and Spyro defined platforming in the PS1 era. And like I'd always wanted to, get those games, but getting, a PlayStation 1 and those classic discs is not easy. So, but I mean, it was super cool, like when they announced it, because I thought, oh, cool, like I'll finally be able to play this, classic trilogy in an easier way.
I was very excited when that was announced.
But yeah, then because Haley was such a big fan from the original, when it was announced, I told her about it, and obviously we played through it together. We took turns, kind of each level.
Yeah, that's basically what we did. And for our fans, they know that I only get the platinum trophy in games that I love, and this is one of them. Partly because I love it, and partly because it's ridiculously easy.
Yeah.
It was my first platinum trophy.
Yay!
My first.
Yeah, we
you
actually-
know, like
I actually said this to Paige. I want you to quote this. I said, his and hers platinum trophies.
yes, that's yeah.
Yeah, we actually got the platinum on these 3 games twice, because when it first came out in 2018, we played through them on my account and got the platinums. And then like maybe like 6-7 months ago, Haley wanted to play through them again. And I was like, okay, well, we'll play through them on your account and we'll get all the platinum trophies on your account. So Haley's PlayStation account has 3 platinum trophies, which is the Spyro Reignited Trilogy.
I'm proud of this.
So yeah, I think let's go ahead and get into the game itself. I'll talk about the setting for each game. So for Spyro the Dragon, which was the first one, it takes place in the Dragon Worlds. There are 6 homeworlds. There's Artisan's World, Peacekeepers, Magic Crafters, Beast Makers, Dreamweavers, and then Gnasty's World. one thing I really like about Spyro, compared to other kind of platforming games that I've played, is each hub world actually acts as its own level with its own collectibles, enemies. So it's not just like you're kind of like how like Crash Bandicoot 2 and 3 do it, where it's just like you're standing in a hub and there are your levels and there's nothing else to do. Each world actually does have its own like it is its own level.
Right. I think that's really interesting also, but Paige had a fascinating thing to note about it.
Yeah, as someone who like really doesn't play a lot of games, I thought it was extremely confusing because I could not tell where I was supposed to go or where I was supposed to be. So I just like got confused between the levels and the worlds.
I see.
Yeah, that happened to me also.
Yeah. I guess
Especially because a lot of the worlds look quite similar or have similar themes at least.
Mm-hmm.
I think I can agree with that because of the fact that it is rather unusual in my experience that if I did not have Haley who had already played the games, so kind of, knew what was going on, I probably would have been thrown off by it. But I think I did have that crutch of having someone with experience when I played the game.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember when I first played it a long time ago. I think I was just kind of like roaming around that first like artisan's world when I was little and just being like, oh, I guess I'm supposed to go into like these little portals. It's like I just remember just running around and trying to figure out like, does it matter which one I go into first or but it's so hard to remember.
So yeah, as mentioned, each hub world does contain portals to various other levels, which are also known as realms in the game. And in the first Spyro game, there is I don't know what you call it, like a pattern to it, I guess, where each world has 3 normal platforming levels, a flying level, and then a boss world, which is in itself its own level. It's not just a boss fight. Usually you do a bit of platforming, fighting normal enemies, you get to the boss, and then typically each boss has 3 kind of stages, 3 hits to beat the boss, and then you move on. Gnasty's world, I guess just worth noting, is the only hub without a flying level. And yeah, that's the pattern. It's like that in every world.
I was going to say, it's like that in the entire series, right? And I actually like that formula.
In Ripto's Rage, there is not a set amount of levels in each world. There's not a pattern to it. But that is the only game in the series like that.
I think the first one is the only one that has enemies in the hub worlds, though, right?
That is correct, yes.
So that makes it, which I mean, kind of got on my nerves because they always come back every time you return. Like in that, is it a Magic Crafters world, I think, where you have to kill those wizards that keep making the hills go up and down just to get to the levels?
Yeah, that is Magic Crafters.
That just got on my nerves because it's like, just to get to the levels, you have to kill these wizards.
Is the first one really the only one that has enemies in the hub world?
That is correct.
I never noticed that.
Yeah, they just have gems and then like the sheep and stuff to get butterflies.
Yeah, 2 and 3 only have like the gems and the collectibles and stuff. They don't have enemies.
But do they have like the egg thieves and stuff?
Yeah, they have orbs and eggs and stuff.
Well, they have the orbs and eggs that you collect for the story, but I don't think they're egg thieves or anything like that.
I don't remember. I don't know.
I think they're all just found. Well, I don't think there are thieves in Spyro 2 at all. I think they come back in 3, but they're only in certain levels. Like they're not in any of the hub worlds, I don't think. I don't know for sure, but I don't think so.
Right. So speaking of Spyro 2.
Speaking of Spyro 2, Ripto's Rage. It takes place in the world of Avalar. There are 3 hub worlds, which I do like. I mean, I guess all the Spyro games do this, but obviously all of the hub worlds also follow a certain theme. Which is cool. In Ripto's Rage, you've got Summer Forest, Autumn Plain, and the Winter Tundra. Obviously, based around seasons. It is kind of weird. I feel like that they did seasons, but they didn't include a spring.
Yes, I thought that was weird.
One, like if you're going to do seasons, why would you only do 3? Why not do 4? I imagine there's probably some, because Spyro 2 is also the shortest game of the 3. I imagine there's like some reasons behind that, but I don't know. It just seems kind of weird. But yeah, as I mentioned earlier, each hub does have it has at least one flying level and a boss, but there is not a set number of levels for each world. I think like Autumn Plains has the most, but they're like I don't know the exact number for each one.
Yeah, Autumn Plains has the most.
I don't know. Did you have any specific comments about Ripto's Rage, Noah and Paige?
Yep, Paige had a comment about the number of levels in each world. Wasn't there like a lot of them? In the third one, there was like 9 levels, weren't there?
I don't know if it's 9, but there are a lot because of the fact as well. There's only 3 worlds, and even though there are the least amount of levels, like the first game only has 5 levels per world. But Ripto's Rage has, I think, like upwards of 8, 9, 10 in each one.
Right. After having played both systems, like even if it was the same number of missions, I would prefer it more hub worlds with a fewer missions to one hub world with a lot of missions.
No, I agree. I think it makes the game feel shorter if you're like progressing to new worlds faster. And also I do just like the like I said, all the home worlds in the Spyro games I really for the most part enjoy. So I would never say no to more. Especially because like I could see only having 3 hub worlds if all of the levels in those hub worlds kind of followed a specific theme. But best I can tell, they do not. So it's like, again, other than maybe like a time constraint or something, I don't see why they only had 3.
Right. Other than that, no, I don't really have anything to say specifically about Spyro 2.
Okay. So then we'll move on to Spyro Year of the Dragon. So it takes place in the Forgotten Realms, which are these worlds that were abandoned by the dragons around 1,000 years ago. Worlds that are slowly losing their magic, pretty much like almost dried up at the point the game takes place, because as one person in the game said, when the dragons left, the magic just kind of went with them. So this one has 4 worlds: Sunrise Spring, Midday Gardens, Evening Lake, and Midnight Mountain. Again, you have that sort of time theme between the 4, which I thought was really cool. And in this game, there is more of a standard to the levels, where there's 4 normal Spyro levels, 1 new character level, which we'll talk about that later, a flying level, a boss level, and a Sparks level, and we will also talk about that.
All very fun. Spyro 3 is my favorite.
Yeah, we'll get into that later. But yeah, so that's the setting of the 3 games. Same basic pattern with your hub worlds and your other worlds. But yeah, that's it.
So are you gonna do the story normally?
What do you mean normally?
Reading that thing verbatim?
Yeah, I figured. I don't know.
What is?
Hold on. What?
Well, I was just saying, I don't know the format of how. Are you going more in depth in each of the games now, or?
Well, now we just go through the story of each game, and then we get into like the actual gameplay stuff, and that's where a bulk of the episode will be.
Where we talk about like different levels.
Mhm.
And things. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so I guess we'll start with the story of Spyro the Dragon. In the world of dragons, the Dragon Kingdom consists of 5 homeworlds: the Artisans, the Peacekeepers, the Magic Crafters, the Beast Makers, and the Dream Weavers, which have lived in harmony for many years. One day, a TV interview with a pair of dragons from the Artisan realm catches the attention of Gnasty Nork, a Nork, half gnome, half orc, who was banished from the kingdom due to his abrasive demeanor and sent to an abandoned junkyard. He renames to Gnasty's World. Pause. Noah, did you know that's what a Nork was?
Wait, what is it?
It's half gnome, half orc.
No. I thought it was just a word for whatever, like when
Yeah,
you
I
see
thought-
Gnasty Nork, like even when I saw him, I was like, okay, yeah, I don't know what the hell that thing is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I always thought it was just something they made up
Right.
for the sake of like, oh, it's like, what are they? They're Norks, like we created this world, that's what they're called, deal with it, how that worked. But it's like, no, I guess there's actually a reasoning for that, which I did not know until I was reading the story description here when I, pasted it here for this episode. Wild.
That's wild. Why wouldn't they ever actually explain that?
I don't know. Like,
And I can't. What even is Gnasty Nork's motivation?
well, it says right here, Noah. After hearing one of the dragons in the broadcast openly dismiss him as being simple-minded, not a threat, and calling him ugly, This makes Gnasty Nork lose his temper and unleash a full-fledged attack on the kingdom.
Spyro stories are really something else.
Yeah, this is a very, very basic, simple story. Yeah. So using his magical powers, he casts a spell across the land that encases every dragon in a crystal shell. He also steals the dragon's prized collection of treasure, turning the gemstones into devious Nork soldiers to help him take over the dragon worlds. Spyro, a young purple dragon, is the only dragon that manages to avoid getting crystallized by the attack, which is never explained. Aided by his dragonfly companion Sparks, Spyro eagerly sets out to locate and defeat Gnasty Nork. I love how they explain the fact that every enemy is a gem turned into a Nork.
Yeah, I was gonna say, with the amount of times I've played this game, I have never known that. I thought it was just a gameplay thing where it's like you get a gem.
They're gems turned into Norks, which is crazy.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I also didn't know that there was no explanation as to why Spyro wasn't frozen.
Right, I didn't know that
Yeah,
either.
like I would hypothetically assume maybe it's because he's a baby dragon, so like Nork didn't hit him with it because he didn't see him as a threat. That's really the only explanation I could think of.
Well,
But like other like there's it's never explained in the story. It's just all of the dragons except him. Like it never shows him dodge a magic beam, like, oh, he managed to escape it. It's just everyone else gets turned except for him.
I always wondered why he was the only baby too.
Yeah, he's also the only baby. Weird. Very silly game. So Spyro visits each of the dragon homeworlds, defeating Nork's forces who have been set out to stop him. Along the way, he frees the crystallized dragons who give him advice and urge him to recover any stolen treasure and dragon eggs along the way. He eventually makes his way to Gnasty's world, where he finally confronts and defeats Gnasty Nork. After Spyro's quest is over, he has access to Nork's treasure portal, which can only be opened if Spyro rescues every dragon in the kingdom, recovers all the dragon's treasure, and retrieves the stolen dragon eggs. A secret ending can then be unlocked by retrieving everything inside of the treasure portal. In this ending, Spyro is seen getting interviewed on TV when another spell is placed on the dragons, prompting Spyro to set out on yet another adventure, which does not go anywhere because that's not what the sequel is about. And that's the first game.
My favorite part is when a Gnasty Nork just runs around a track.
Yeah, and you have to chase him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't really say much else about it. That's basically the game.
I mean, I don't think anybody's playing Spyro for this story.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you there. I think it's the same, the original Crash trilogy. Spyro and Crash have the same thing where the first game basically has no story at all. It's like there's a story because I guess they feel the need to explain why you're doing things.
Right.
That's it. The second for both games kind of puts a little bit of story in there, like they're trying a little harder. And then the third, I would say for both series, is the best game in terms of story, and like they're actually trying at that point.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah. So
how does it get better in the second one?
So in the second one, is anyone else going to read these, or is it just me reading all? All right.
Yeah, you're good.
So Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage. Spyro the dragon and his dragonfly partner Sparks have enough with the continuous raining and artisans, and wondering when the sun will come out, they decide to take a vacation to Dragon Shores. Upon going through the portal, however, Spyro ends up in the fantasy realm of Avalar, having been summoned by Laura the Fawn, Hunter the Cheetah, and the Professor. They explain that while experimenting with a large portal device, they inadvertently summoned an iron-fisted angry warlock known as Ripto, along with his minions Crush and Gulp. Pleased to find himself in a world without dragons, whom he views as pests, Ripto decided to conquer Avalar, prompting Allura and the others to summon a dragon to fight against him. Currently stranded in Avalar as a result of Ripto destroying the portal he came in through, Spyro agrees to help fight against him, gathering up talismans from the various realms of Avalar in order to confront and defeat Crush and Gulp. Ripto then manages to steal a power crystal, which was used to power the large portal device, which he uses to create a new scepter for himself, which Gulp had eaten his original scepter in the intro by mistake. But Spyro manages to defeat Ripto as well. With peace returned to Avalar, Allura and the others fix the portal device, allowing Spyro to take his long-awaited vacation to Dragon Shores. Pause. That's the story. Like I said, a little more involved than the first game, but still, my biggest issue with the story of Ripto's Rage is Ripto is never really explained. He's just angry, he can use magic, and he hates dragons, and that's kind of it. That's all you know about it.
I actually love the story of the second one. The story of the second one is my favorite of the three. I love Ripto. You know, you don't have to explain too much. I thought he was a good villain for Spyro. You know, he hated dragons. He was like little and clumsy, and his henchmen were, you know, unique and interesting. But they weren't, you know, a threat to Spyro at any point in the game. That's
That is
why
correct.
I liked him, you know.
I can get on board with that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I thought Ripto was iconic.
No, Ripto is the most iconic villain, I think, in Spyro's history.
Yeah,
What do you think, Paige?
Yeah, I definitely remember Ripto the most. Like when I'm thinking about back on the villains, I did not remember Gnasty Nork. Like I had to pull up a picture of him, but I remember Ripto.
Okay. So, Noah, you will probably not remember this. The game's epilogue, which is unlocked by completing the skill points list in the guidebook, reveals what happened to various friends and enemies that Spyro encountered in Avalar, such as Spyro and Allura missing their chance to kiss, Crotch being taught by the professor how to spell, and a list of dummied enemies that didn't make it into the game. In the end, Spyro returns to the Dragon Realm with Hunter joining him, setting the stage for the next game.
No, I didn't see any of that. The skill points aren't required for the Platinum Trophy.
That is correct. Well, here's the thing, Noah. This that I just read is in the original Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage, but was not in the Reignited Trilogy.
What do you mean?
This epilogue right here that I just read to you is
Like
not
they
in.
didn't recreate it?
They didn't recreate it. Like,
You're
I had
upset
to-
about that?
I think so. Like, I had to look up like a playthrough of the original game to find this epilogue.
As you
It's-
just read that to me, I was like, I'm not upset that I missed that. You know, there's nothing there to see.
It's certainly very simple, but that also just makes me wonder why they didn't include it, because they include skill points. Like, getting all the skill points in the Reignited Trilogy gets you concept art. Haley and I did it when we got the trophies on her game, because they don't take that much time to do. Like, you could probably knock them all out in an hour, but I just think it's weird that they didn't include it.
Yeah, when you mentioned that to me last night, I was like, oh yeah, I remember specifically the Spyro and Allura missing their chance to kiss. That sounds very familiar to me. But I would have seen it in the original game.
Yeah.
I guess is what.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just weird. I don't know why it wasn't in there, and I don't know. It's just because like in the game in Spyro 2 when it's originally in there, it's just like you're flipping through pages of a book and it's a picture and like a caption. Like for like, I think for the Spyro and Allura moment, it literally says like Spyro Spyro like missed his chance or something, and it's like a picture of them two in like Tunnel of Love boat thing, and she's like going for a kiss and he's like just looking the other way.
See, that's weird and unnecessary. And frankly, it makes me uncomfortable.
Maybe they were trying to downplay that little romance
Well, no, because
thing.
there's a whole
That's what I'm
cutscene
saying.
dedicated
Maybe
to
it was
there's
a good idea.
no there is a whole cutscene dedicated to that romance in the third game in the Reignited Trilogy. So I think it's kind of because in Year of the Dragon in the Reignited Trilogy, whenever Allura is in the game, which is not much, like she's not in it a lot, she always like is like flirty towards Spyro with like everything she says. And I remember thinking, that's kind of weird. I didn't get that. It's like, oh well, I guess after this, I guess there was something there in the second game that is just kind of cut out for some reason. I don't know,
Like
man.
you're
That's so
saying.
weird. I'm like, why does it need romance?
Yeah, I think that too. So you're saying that it came out of nowhere in the third game because you didn't get that vibe from the second game on the Reignited because they didn't have that extra part to make you feel like that. Like it
Yeah.
just seems random.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I don't know why they had to do that. I mean, they already had the whole thing with Bianca and Hunter
Yeah.
in
mhm,
the third game anyway. So
Yeah. Anyway, that's Ripto's Rage.
Is Hunter the cheetah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So then, Spyro Year of the Dragon. The game opens with a celebration in the land of the dragons, where Spyro and his kin are celebrating the Year of the Dragon, an event that occurs every 12 years when new dragon eggs are brought to the realm. During the celebration, however, Bianca invades the dragon realms with an army of rhino-based creatures called Rhinox and steals all of the dragon eggs, bringing them back to the sorceress, who spreads the eggs throughout several worlds. The worlds are split up into 4 home realms: Sunrise Spring, Midday Garden, Evening Lake, Midnight Mountain. Spyro, Sparks, and Hunter are sent down a hole to find the thieves and recover the dragon eggs. While pursuing the thief, Spyro discovers a world once inhabited by the dragons, but long abandoned and forgotten. This world is under the iron-fisted reign of the sorceress and her Rhinoc army. Spyro meets Sheila the kangaroo, Sergeant Bird the penguin, Bentley the yeti, and Agent 9 the monkey, who help him on his quest. Sheila, in particular, tells how when the dragons left the realm, the world's magic began to dry up. Spyro travels through each world in the Forgotten Realm, acquiring aid from the local inhabitants in rescuing the dragon eggs. It is revealed that the sorceress not only actually banished the dragons originally without realizing they were the source of her kingdom's magic, but is seeking not the baby dragons themselves, but merely their wings to concoct a spell that can grant her immortality. Once Bianca learns about this, she turns against the sorceress and decides to help Spyro defeat her. Spyro fights and defeats the sorceress, but she survives the battle and waits for him, even though the game is considered beat at this point, as evidenced with the subsequent rolling credits. After he defeats her again and retrieves the last dragon egg, Spyro returns all the baby dragons to the dragon realms. Along the journey to help Spyro recover the eggs, Hunter forms a crush on Bianca, and after Spyro's first battle with the sorceress, they both start a love relationship, with Spyro and Sparks looking on in dismay. I love Wikipedia so much because I just love the phrase, they start a love relationship. I just think that's a funny phrase.
It's somebody who's never had one before, you know. They're like, what are those called? Oh, love relationships.
Like a robot trying to describe it.
Why are they looking on in dismay? Isn't that like sad?
Yeah, because like Spyro's like, oh, like another adventurer fallen prey to love, and he's not going to be an adventurer anymore, kind of thing.
yeah, it's supposed to be funny.
Yeah.
Kind of fell flat though.
But then also, what is not mentioned here is like they're watching a fireworks show, Hunter and Bianca together, and they kiss, and Spyro's upset, and then Alora, kind of out of nowhere, like, hey, Spyro, just like enjoy some time, and she sits down next to him, and they watch the fireworks together. Again, that kind of moment they have in this game that I'm like, well, that seems just kind of random, whatever.
I don't even know why she shows up in the third game.
Yeah, she's in it very, very, which I didn't like because she was one of my favorite characters of Ripto's Rage, and she just really just does not appear in this game at all.
She was my least favorite in Ripto's Rage. Opinions.
For
Opinions.
the characters or
No, I mean in general.
just okay.
Different opinions. Jade and I frequently think the exact opposite.
Stop getting quiet. So anyway, that's the story of Year of the Dragon. I personally think that one is the best story just because there's the most going on.
I think that is what takes away from it. There's too much going on that's not Spyro. You know, there's like so much side character cutscene activity and dedication. Like there's very few missions that just are classic Spyro going through a level.
Well, yeah,
without...
but I mean that's more of a gameplay thing than a story thing.
Well, I mean, story-wise, I just think there's just too many characters involved. You know, they had the problem of not enough characters in the first 2 games, and then they just threw in a whole bunch of random ones.
I agree. I thought it came out of nowhere. Like all of a sudden there's all these different characters and you can play them and they have different things. Just seemed like a lot. It seemed a lot different than the other ones.
I mean, I agree with you on that, but again, I think that's more of a gameplay issue than a story issue.
Yeah, but he's a dragon who had no friends except for dragons before, and then suddenly there's all these characters who want to help him and contend, you know, and it's like, why? Why is the penguin and the kangaroo and the yeti thing helping Spyro fight the evil dragon, you know?
The sorceress isn't a dragon.
She's dragon looking.
She's like a crocodile.
Exactly. It's unclear. She's pretty dragon like.
She's like a crocodile. She doesn't have wings.
I thought she was like a dinosaur or something.
Insect. I thought she was like an insect, like archaic looking thing.
Okay, why don't you look up what she looks like and you can see how wrong you are about that.
Okay, I might be very wrong.
Certainly a reptile of sorts.
Well, I didn't think crocodile though.
Like crocodile alligator, that's kind of what I got.
Anywho, let's talk about the actual game.
Yeah.
Which one?
I mean, it's basically all the same game with upgrades, really. It's like how we talk about the Arkham series. It's the Spyro series, right?
I mean, yeah. I
I
guess she is considered a dinosaur on the wiki.
see, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I have always liked Ripto's Rage the best, but I realize that is probably because of also nostalgia factoring in, since it was the first one that I ever played, and I do wish it was longer. Like I would prefer like one more hub world with levels in it, but I do still like Ripto the best for the villain over the sorceress.
I will agree. I think Ripto is the best villain. Like, I do like the story more in Year of the Dragon, but the sorceress herself is such like a forgettable character compared. Like Gnasty Nork and Ripto, like I can picture them. They're like maybe the fact that they're actually named in the sorceress is just the sorceress, but they were both like loud and proud leaders of their army. Whereas the sorceress, she just kind of sat in her castle the whole time until you fight her. Like she doesn't actually do anything herself. She just like magics up a big creature and has the creature fight you. I mean,
That's a good observation. I love a villain who's like in your face. He's always showing up and messing things up. And that's what I felt like not Gnasty, Ripto was like. If he wasn't there, he sent his henchmen, or he was how did he like teleconference? Was it just cutscenes showing him raging out frequently?
No, it was cutscenes. Like he didn't like he would have his, he like had Crush and go fight you, but he like wanted to be there to watch you get destroyed, So he was actually present at each fight.
He was just,
see, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was a lot more. I thought he was intimidating. When I was a kid, I was nervous to fight him at the end.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's Noah. Why don't you in Paige lead us into the gameplay?
Spyro the Dragon is a collectathon platformer where Spyro must defeat enemies and destroy chests to collect gems, eggs, and dragon statues.
Right. So Spyro has a few abilities in the first game. He has a simple flame attack, a short range flame that breaks chests and kills standard and large enemies. Spyro also has a charge attack, which is used to destroy metal chests and enemies wearing metal armor. Spyro can also glide short distances. There is also Sparks, his dragonfly companion. That acts as Spyro's health. The colors, gold, blue, and green, indicate what health point Spyro is on. And the PS4 light bar matches. Jaden has that here as a fun fact. Yes, it is a fun fact.
I absolutely love the PS4 light bar because the fact that a lot of games will use it to kind of indicate stuff in the games themselves, which is completely pointless and absolutely nothing more than for enjoyment. But I absolutely love it, and Spyro is one of my favorite uses of it, with your light bar matching Sparks' color.
I actually never noticed that in our entire time playing it. But yes, the light bar I have seen it be used well in a couple of games, which I never thought it would have like an actual utility to it. Anyway, Sparks can also be used to point to gems you haven't found on a level, which is crucial when you are trying to collect everything in this game.
I will also take this time to point out that both times Haley and I played through Spyro the Dragon on the Reignited Trilogy, Haley would not let us use that feature because in the original Spyro the Dragon, he could not do that.
That's
Wow.
He
crazy. It
wanted
didn't
to
even
keep it
help that
authentic.
much sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Haley wanted. You can do it in the original trilogy in Ripto's Rage and Year of the Dragon, but you cannot do it in Spyro the Dragon. So she would not let us use it.
That's crazy.
Dang. That's a lot of work. It's
Yeah.
kind of helpful.
Yeah, we used it and still had to look up a couple
Yeah.
guides.
Yeah. We used it religiously and still struggled.
Yeah, it was in our first playthrough. We actually just didn't know you could use it, so it helped with that. In the second one, I think once, she let us use it because in one of the levels we spent maybe like an hour missing like 12 gems and
Well,
could not find them.
Didn't we use it in the second and third one?
Well, yeah, but
To
I'm
begin
we're
with?
specifically talking
We're
about
still
first.
talking
Yeah, what you're talking about. In specifically, what was it, like Clifftown?
Yes.
Yeah, in
yes,
Clifftown,
yes.
there's a small collection of gems that you spawn in Clifftown. You spawn in this kind of building that is like away from the rest of the level, and behind this building, not like just behind you inside, behind the building itself, is a small ledge with some gems on it that you wouldn't even think you'd be able to glide around to get there. So we spent like an hour missing just those gems, running around this level trying to find them before finally she let us use the Sparks locator to figure out where they were.
Well, I'm just trying to be true to the you know.
Yeah,
I respect it. That's true gamer stuff right there.
But I was like, because first I didn't even think that because I thought it was going to be like the old one that you couldn't even do it. So anyway, that Clifftown, both times that we played it, like 3 years apart, we forgot. So we did the same thing.
Yeah, when we played the second time, there were a lot of things that I remember having to look up the first time or just spending a lot of time figuring out that I just remembered, so we didn't have to do that.
Mhm.
But that was one that completely forgot about.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the first game. It's very basic compared to the second and third. You know, they add a bunch of stuff in there. This one, it's your basic flame, charge, jump, and glide, and that's what you got.
So Spyro 2.
In Ripto's Rage, Spyro gains several new abilities. First off, he gets a hover, which basically after you glide, you have to glide for a certain amount of time, as I learned in many trial and error sections of the game. Basically, like when you get to the end of a glide, you press triangle, and he does like a little hop that is used very helpful in like getting on some ledges. Then he gets the ability to climb ladders, the ability to swim, and the ability to do a head bash, which is kind of like an overhead attack that is honestly very situational. It's not something you can just use whenever you want. And then also, Ripto's Rage changed the format of the levels, where in Spyro the Dragon, you just kind of enter the level, you're there, you go, you get to the exit, you leave. Whereas in Ripto's Rage On, each level consists of Spyro helping the local people of that realm, and each level has an opening and ending cutscene showing Spyro's effects. So usually in the opening cutscene, you can see the bad guys, being mean to the locals and they're having trouble with stuff. And then when you leave, you kind of see like the good guys, the locals are now, just enjoying their lives now that he has helped them. I'll be honest, I hate those cutscenes.
We were talking shit about him right now.
There's one that sticks out to me that was like really savage. You remember which one I'm talking about?
No.
Magma Cove.
There were several I
yeah.
thought were
Like
savage.
in the
Right.
leaving cutscene of Magma Cove, a guy literally falls in lava and nobody cares.
No, that guy pushed him off.
Oh yeah.
Like he just
Dude, that's
murdered him.
crazy.
And that was after we beat the level when it's supposed to be nice and
Yeah, no,
peaceful.
those are the good guys doing that.
So I was like, wow. On that note, we're leaving Magma Cove.
Yeah, like I get what they were going for with these, kind of wanting to put more character into the levels, but 9 out of 10 times these cutscenes were dumb and I hated them.
Yeah, and they're not skippable,
Yeah.
which is a problem. I always say if you have a
Yeah.
cutscene, make it option
Wait,
skippable,
I thought you could skip them.
I don't think you can the first time. I think it's the second.
Yeah,
After you
can.
beat the level, you can. which I'm fine with. I don't care if a cutscene is unskippable the first time, but it's every time after that I better be able to skip it.
I have been sat through too many bad Far Cry writings to watch another unskippable cutscene game.
Yeah, suck it, Far Cry. We're not even talking about them.
It was just an example.
Uh-huh. And then I didn't include Year of the Dragon in this section just because for the basic platforming Spyro-esque parts, nothing is added in Year of the Dragon in that regard. In terms of if you're controlling Spyro, you do have your swimming and like head bash climbing abilities from the get-go, but they did not add any new abilities for Spyro in Year of the Dragon that I'm aware of.
Honestly, that was kind of a bummer. I thought, like, when I played Spyro 1, I thought there was so much potential for abilities, and we were just never really given them anymore.
Didn't they make up for that by using those other characters?
Well, yeah, that's what they did in place of giving Spyro more abilities. But I have we'll talk about those later. And yeah, that's kind of your basic Spyro controls in the Reignited Trilogy. So then you have your collectibles. Obviously, being a collectathon, this is what you're playing the game for. So in each game, you have what is your story collectible, which is kind of like, the point why Spyro is going around to all these realms. Spyro the Dragon, it's dragon statues. The dragons that have been turned into statues, you have to go up to them to break them free as they say some sort of line of dialogue that a lot of times does not matter, and then you move on. And then you have, obviously, your gems. And Spyro the Dragon, the first game, is the only one that has 3 different types of collectibles, because also you have the dragon eggs, where you have to chase the very annoying egg thieves to get close enough to flame them, and then they drop the eggs. Something that is actually more difficult in the Reignited Trilogy than the original game.
You said more difficult?
Yes.
It is extremely difficult.
It is more difficult because in the original game, they run in straight lines. They don't run, run around in they don't curve their paths, because obviously, it 1998, a little bit harder to do. So they just ran in straight lines. So it could be very easy as Spyro to cut corners and stuff to catch up to them, because they didn't. They would, run straight, run straight, run straight, run straight. But in the Reignited Trilogy, they do actually, curve around corners and things like that. So it's just something that makes it a tiny bit more difficult in the Reignited. Then in Ripto's Rage, your story-based collectibles there, you have orbs and talismans. The orbs are basically what powers the different portals, kind of, I guess, the replacement for dragon statues. And the talismans you get from the denizens of each world when you help them, that I suppose they are the things that prevent you from progressing further in the story. You can go up and beat Ripto without getting all the orbs, but you do need all the talismans. And then, of course, Gems Return. Then Spyro Year of the Dragon, you've got the dragon eggs. You find the dragon eggs, out hatches a little baby dragon, does a little dance or whatever. And then that's your only story collectible in that one. And then you have your gems, obviously, the Spyro gems. One comment I do actually have about the gems. In Spyro the Dragon, the original, you had your red gem, which is worth 1, green gem worth 2, blue gem worth 5, gold gem was worth 10, and then the purple gem worth 25. I don't know why they did this, but in Ripto's Rage, Year of the Dragon, they replaced the blue gem with just a slightly less shiny purple gem. And I don't like that. I don't know why there has to be 2 purple gems, one worth 5, one worth 25. I think that's dumb. I liked when they had the blue just because, there are more colors.
Yeah, that annoys
It
me
doesn't
too.
matter.
No, it matters.
It really doesn't.
What'd you say,
There's no
Paige?
difference.
You're wrong. They're a different color.
But that's it.
Yeah.
It's still a gem.
Yeah, but it's I feel like it lessens the wow factor of seeing a purple gem, because in the first Spyro you see a purple gem and you're like, oh dude, purple gem, awesome. But in the others, it lessens that because, they look different. The actual design of the gem is different, but you see a purple gem and it's just fiber.
I heavily disagree. I never looked at the numbers relating to any gem. It was just picking up gems for no reason. You get every single gem on every level, so it doesn't matter how much they're worth.
Yes,
I
it
totally
matters.
agree.
You people.
I just think they're all gems that are going to be collected. You know,
Yeah,
you
they're
got to get them
pretty.
all.
They're pretty. They're fun to look at. That's it.
You know, that is so funny to me because when we would be doing like different challenges, like if you have to glide really far, like a difficult glide to get to these little baskets or whatever to get gems out, I'm thinking like, oh, this better be like a good one, and then we break the basket and we'd be like, oh, it's just a fiver. What the hell is that? And then like I do agree with they made it a different shape. It's like they wanted to make it like more variety, like shape wise. But why couldn't they keep it the same bright blue color? Like I'm just saying, like it's more pleasing to the eye. Like I don't know, we just think way too far into the gems. I guess
we were very upset because we'd be like, oh, it's a purple gem. Oh, it's just a 5er. And then it'd be like, oh, wait, this one was a 25er. It's a big one.
Yeah, and when you get to the end and you get like to get all that extra treasure, we'd be like, oh man, there's so many 25ers in here.
But you get them all anyway.
I know.
Yeah, but it's the aesthetic. Aesthetic, man.
So
No,
weird.
what?
Yeah, you gotta care about aesthetic.
No,
do
you
care
don't
about
give them different rarities. They're all equal, and it's just having fun collecting pretty gems.
My aesthetic is get them all, not how much, I don't
Yeah,
even know
but-
what the totals are because,
Yeah,
it
but
doesn't
they're
really
still.
matter.
I mean, they're still nice to look at. Like you see the gem rotating in the grass, and you're like, pretty.
Yeah, it's very satisfying.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but I
get
wasn't like,
that.
oh, a blue one. That's the best. You know,
I'm just.
it was just every time I saw gems, like, oh shit, gems over there. You know,
I'm sorry, I unplugged Haley's mic.
what a jerk.
Yeah.
Well, we just got so excited about the
Fucking
gems.
we just love these gems, man. You gotta care. You
Just
gotta
gets
care.
angry.
It's like
And like when they would hide
I
the
did
green
wanna
ones in
say-
the grass.
that was
We
annoying.
skated past this, but the best collectible in all of Spyro to me is the dragon statues. I thought it was really interesting seeing all the different dragons and their goofy names, sometimes regular names. It would be like, like Rick would be a dragon, and then you would come across another one that's like Schwarmy.
that was fun. That was fun. And I think the dragon statues look cool and stuff. I just like I don't know. I just eventually I was like skipping what they were saying because it's like none of them say anything of any value, pretty much.
Oh yeah, I always
That's a
skip.
given.
Yeah, I always skip what they say. That's why you need skippable cutscenes. If nothing is of value. But I did like that they gave them all like a shtick. Like one had a book and another one's got like a sword, and
Yeah.
Well, multiple. They reuse that.
they did.
Yeah, no, that is no. I agree. I think those are cool. I think the designs are cool. I also loved. One thing we didn't do this as much in our first playthrough, but in our second, we actually paid attention to the names, and we just loved judging how they were based on how cool the dragon was, based on how cool his name suggested he should be. It's like it would be like there's a dragon that would come out named like Gavin that acts like a nerd, and I'd be like, man, that guy acts like a Gavin, or like one like had the name of like Thor, and he's obviously like acting super like tough and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, that fits. And then there'd be some we'd come across where I'm like, man, that guy's attitude does not fit his name.
Well, the best was when there was one named Asher, and it was this crotchety old guy that had like memory issues.
Yeah, he was just a little bitch. We weren't happy about that.
That is funny.
Yeah, we weren't happy about Asher.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Really did not live up. Anyway, that's the collectibles. I don't know, what'd you think of, I guess, since we're just talking about everything, what'd you think of the baby dragons in Year of the Dragon, whenever you'd find them?
The same thing. Really, we like to make fun of their names.
Mhm.
And I just skip through, their little cutscenes. I didn't think they were as interesting as the grown dragons at all.
Yeah, I guess they didn't say anything. I mean, I would watch, I mean, it's kind of the same. There were maybe like 7 animations that they just reused. So it's like, eventually if I was like, oh yeah, I've seen this animation before, I would skip it. But I'd like to, at least see them all the first time.
I like the baby ones the best.
Yeah.
For the collectibles because they were cute, and then I just like the idea that you're saving the babies, from I guess that goes with the story
You're saving them from death.
from getting their wings taken off. Like that's so dark. But I just felt like it was I don't know, just better that yeah, because it's so crazy that Spyro had to save all the adults. But maybe I just think it's cute. I don't know what anyone else thinks.
Yeah, I guess it is funny in the first game how easily all of the dragons are defeated.
Yeah, and then when he rescues them, they're like, "Well, good luck." Like they don't help.
Right.
You know?
No sense.
So that was kind of.
I
always
also
thought
I
that.
also love in Spyro the Dragon, there is one dragon. It's literally the same guy. You rescue him twice. Because I think even Spyro says something about him because he's in Artisans, I think, the home world. And then he's like the one dragon that's in Gnasty's world. And he says something like the second time you rescue him, he's like, "Ah, good work, Spyro. You're almost at Gnasty." And Spyro's like, "Didn't I rescue you before?" Something like that.
I think I do remember that.
I
Yeah,
thought it
'cause I
was
think-
a joke that all the dragons looked the same and they were
No.
recycled.
No, it's literally like I thought that it was just recycled. And even playing through, I was like, I wonder how lazy they get. Like, I wonder if you see the name twice, which I don't think you ever do, even with the baby dragons. Which is impressive with the baby dragons because there's like 150 of them. I remember seeing his name and I was like, oh, we got a repeat name. Got a repeat name. They got lazy. And then in the game, I was like, didn't I rescue you before? And I was like, oh, okay, they did it on purpose. Never mind.
That's really clever. I never noticed that.
Yeah. Anyway, that's that part. So now we'll go ahead and talk about the power-ups. So Spyro the Dragon, very simple, basically had just two power-ups. The Super Flame. Basically, sometimes you come across a fairy who will kiss Spyro, giving him a super-powered flame attack that is launched as a projectile, because we didn't really, I guess, say it when we talked about his flame initially, but it is like, it's more of like a little spread that goes out from him, like his mouth. It's just like a little, I don't know. But in the Super Flame, he kind of, it's like a ball of fire that he launches out, and it can destroy anything, even metal. It is a super powered flame. Also, Spyro looks wicked as hell when he has the power up.
He does look really cool.
He's all
He's
glowing.
got like glowing purple flames all over him.
And then there's the supercharge. There are these like pads on the ground that allow Spyro to do a super fast charge, which allows him to jump over extremely large distances. The more speed he has, and he can barrel through any enemy, even large enemies, which he normally cannot charge, and any sort of like destructible wall he can break through as well. I think the supercharge is implemented in Spyro the Dragon more than either of the other two games for platform.
Your mic cut out at platforming.
Well, I was just saying, I think in Spyro the Dragon, the supercharge is used more than the other two games for platform. Like in Spyro 2, I can think of one instance where you actually use a supercharged ramp and have to like platform around. And I can't think of any instance in Year of the Dragon. But there are like levels dedicated to using the supercharge only pretty much in the first.
Yeah, it was hard to control sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very hard to control.
Yeah. But for the most part, I liked it.
And
Right.
then, what? Were you saying something?
I was going to continue.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Right. So Spyro 2 replaces fairies with gates, in which Spyro can use a power-up after defeating a certain number of enemies, typically one in every level.
Typically one gate in every level. Is what
Yeah,
that
one
meant.
gate in every level. And that's like when you clear the level, the gate activates and you can use that whatever power it is to get the collectibles on that level. Those powers are Super Glide, which allows Spyro to fly freely in platforming levels for a short duration. There's Ice Breath, which Spyro's breath freezes enemies. Spring Jump, Invincibility, which allows Spyro to walk on lava, and then Superfly, which gives him a Super Flame
Oh, sorry.
combo.
No, it's the Superfly Super Flame combo.
Oh yeah, that was really confusing. And I'm like, I don't even know what this is.
Well, I guess
Superfly and Super Flame together.
Yeah, it's only
Okay.
that gate appears only once in Spyro 2 and once in Spyro 3, but it lets
Yeah.
him fly while also giving him a super flame.
Yeah, there's not a phrase for that.
No,
It should just be
that's-
called Super Spyro.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's just what it's called.
With the glasses.
with the glasses.
You know that code that we used and gave him glasses?
Oh yes. Did you guys use the cheat codes?
We did to change his color.
Wait, what he has glasses?
I don't remember that,
Yeah,
Cheek. I don't remember seeing that.
sunglasses.
Yeah, you could give him sunglasses. Ours was
Oh.
cool, Spyro.
Yeah, we didn't. I remember looking up Cheats. I don't remember seeing any about giving him glasses. All I saw was changing his color.
Oh, there's
That's it? No,
also-
there was
a
actually quite a
bunch.
few, yeah.
Did you do the ones? Did you see the ones where you could make his head like huge?
Oh, there was
Yes.
also the big head. Yeah.
And,
Yes.
like a 2D Spyro one.
Oh yeah, that was my favorite.
But I like the color one.
Yeah. Yeah. So, he also does have the Super Flame and Supercharge in Ripto's Rage. I just didn't feel the need to put those again. And this is another thing where, obviously Ripto's Rage added a few new power ups, but Year of the Dragon did not add any.
Lame.
Yeah. It seems
Mhm.
lazy to me.
Well, again, it's like they added the other characters in place of giving Spyro abilities.
It was a lot of other characters.
Too
Yes.
Right.
We'll talk about that. One thing that Spyro Ripto's Rage did, that only Ripto's Rage did, was enemies did not drop gems. Enemies, their souls were used to activate these power-up gates. They had the power-up gates in Year of the Dragon, but it was more like you found them, like they were maybe hidden, or like you had to talk to someone in the world that would activate them. But yeah, they weren't used as prominently as in Ripto's Rage. Ripto's Rage, every level had at least one power-up gate, and you had to defeat a certain number of enemies, and their souls would activate the gate.
Was it really every level?
In Ripto's Rage?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure every single level.
Oh, I did not notice that.
I think like that was, the hook, sort of, the gimmick, I guess. Because again, like enemy souls activated them. There were enemies in every level, so I have to imagine that every level had one.
Yeah, I always thought that was kind of weird too. Like it's kind of a strange their souls are going into the gate. Like it's kind of I'd rather have it like that's one thing I didn't think was as good as the other two games where I'd rather have the gems come out, which I didn't know that they were like gems turned into enemies, like you said at the beginning.
Yeah. As far as I'm aware, that's just the first one. In Year of the Dragon, enemies do turn into gems when you defeat them, but I don't think that's a story thing. I think maybe they just drop them this time.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you all think? Do you like the gem thing better or you don't really care? I mean, I don't know.
I agree though. I prefer when enemies drop gems.
Yeah,
Because it
sorry,
gave
go
you a
ahead.
reason, right? Or it felt more rewarding when
Yeah.
you kill an enemy.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I didn't like the fact that you had to unlock the power-up gate at each level of Riptos. I did not like that. Well, I wouldn't say I didn't like it. It was just like, it was a change that I was like, whatever.
Mhm.
I don't even think I realized that's what was happening. Like instead of the gems, that's what happened until you were talking about it.
No, I remember it's something that we noticed. I mean, like, obviously Haley just knew because she had played the games previously, but she pointed it out to me, like, when I was playing through the first level. She was like, yeah, in this game, enemies don't turn into gems. They, like, just activate a portal when you kill, like, a gate when you kill a certain number. And I just thought, oh, well, that's kind of lame.
Yeah, because you don't have to kill every single one then, because it's not all of them before it activates, right? It's just like if you do most of them.
It's most.
So, but like in the other games, it's like you have to kill all the enemies to complete
To
everything
complete the levels.
100%. So it makes it feel more satisfactory.
Correct.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So flying.
Yes, flying, Noah?
In all three games, there are multiple flying levels.
Oh, that's a mistake. So shut up.
In which Spyro can freely fly around an area and must destroy 4 different sets of objects in a given time, right? So the timer's going down and you have to destroy like 5 enemies in trains, 5 enemies in planes, and
I
all
guess we're
that.
being
It's usually
specific. It's 8.
it's very specific. It's usually set up in like a path that like an optimal path that you can follow to take out every enemy and have more time. And every time you do take out one of the objectives, time is added to the clock. So in Spyro 2, they include challenges that you must find in the level. So after you beat the level by getting all the objectives, you can just fly around and there's like a side mission to do there. And these were actually kind of hard to find sometimes. Like we would have to look them up, right?
Yeah, some of them were like really,
Yeah,
I don't know, just really hard to find.
yeah, we will talk about the challenges a bit more later, but yeah, no, they were sometimes pretty hard to find.
Right. Right. So Year of the Dragon added a secondary challenge where you race against denizens of the given realm and you go through speed boosts and it's 3 laps. I actually enjoyed this. The flying levels in all of these games frustrated me. I mean, Paige can attest. I was frustrated.
Yeah. Well, because I just couldn't do them, period. I could not deal with the up down thing. I've never played games before. And so I just made him do them all.
Were they inverted controls, Noah? I can't remember.
I think
They are.
Oh yeah.
Trust
That'll
me.
get you. That'll get you.
Yeah, classic.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the flying levels, actually. I really love them.
I do like them for the challenge of it. I did have him do them the times that we played through them because they were so, I mean, they're definitely the hardest levels in the games. I mean, I feel like we can all agree on that. But it took me so long to beat them when I was a kid that I was like, I don't even want to, I don't have to. Like, you could just do it. And he likes them, so I'm like, yeah, just go ahead and do that.
Yeah, I like them when there's not a time limit. You know, when you can just fly around. That's fun.
Right.
I wish you could have done it more in the actual platforming levels.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, and here's something I wish you did less of.
The
Haley,
underwater levels.
Paige, why don't you tell us about the underwater levels?
Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage introduces swimming, which allows Spyro to explore underwater realms. Now, yay! These levels consist of almost entirely swimming to get around the world. Obviously, Spyro can't use his normal flame attack underwater, so he has to rely on charging enemies for his main attack, or a super flame if one is available.
How do you feel about underwater levels?
I absolutely hate the underwater levels. I find them extremely disorienting, hard to navigate. Overall, just really awful in my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah, I think, underwater levels are notorious among, anyone who has ever played a video game as just being super frustrating. I think overall, Spyro does underwater levels better than a lot of underwater levels I've played in games. That being said, I still hate them.
Yeah. It's like you have to be in a mood to tackle those. Like you don't just casually play the underwater level. They're definitely the most annoying.
That is so true. I'm thinking about like the underwater sections are sections that would make us like halt resuming playing. You know what I mean? I'd be like, do you want to play more Spyro today? And be like, no, we're stuck on that underwater part.
Yeah. I've done that before too.
Yeah, it would certainly be both a starter and an ender for me. Like, oh, we only have one level left in this hub world. Oh, which one is it? Aquaria Towers? I think I'm done for now.
Yeah, that is the worst one too. Like all underwater.
Yeah, it's I'll give them the credit of more fun, like better just in terms of overall control than a lot of underwater levels I've played, but they're still underwater levels, man.
The controls, I think, are the issues because you have to be charging and your movement is based on where you look. You can't move and look separately. Like it's just a lot of basic mechanical issues underwater. But I think because it is such small sections of the game is why they didn't really devote any time to making it more fluid. Anyway, you want to talk about the challenges?
Yeah, sure. Haley, talk about the challenges.
Okay, so Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage introduces challenges as additional ways to collect story collectibles rather than just finding all of them like in the first game. These challenges vary in scope and difficulty from mini boss fights to flying around fighting enemies to alternate character challenges.
yeah, that's about it. What challenges are? One thing I do like about the challenges is there is a large variety in between Ripto's Rage and Year of the Dragon. There is a large variety of challenges, so much so that like I just I don't think we could spend hours upon hours just discussing all the different types of challenges. And I will say, at least for me, they were more hit than miss in terms of how I felt about them. But yeah, I think they're fine.
No, I agree. They were a great addition. I enjoyed them for the most part. That some of them were difficult, whether like the specific challenge was difficult or the controls were wonky, whatever. But all of them were definitely creative.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I like how I can't remember if they do this in the third game, but definitely in the second game they give you like the star rating of like how hard it's supposed to be. Did they do that in both
I'm
of
pretty
those?
sure they did.
Yeah, I like that too. 'Cause it
Yeah,
gave
so
you an
Haley would
idea.
know. Yeah, Haley would know which ones to just hand the control to me.
Okay, remember that I did all of these like a long time ago.
Okay,
And now I'm just like, well,
okay,
I've already done these.
okay,
Go ahead.
okay.
Because some of them are so frustrating.
I agree.
Like
Are there any
some are popping up in my mind already.
Yeah, are there any you specifically know on Page remember either really enjoying or really despising?
I remember disliking one that was you had to ram turtles and keep them away from a pot.
I like that one.
I liked that
I said,
one.
no,
There were two difficulties of it.
right. And
I kind of had a hard time with it for some reason. I don't know.
you know, that's interesting because they actually changed I believe they changed that challenge slightly from the originals and something with the camera angle of it. And it was like a little bit easier with the reignited, but it was known to be one of the hardest ones, probably in both versions, but definitely in the original. Like
Interesting.
everybody, yeah, I don't know
Mhm.
why they changed that one. Maybe there's more that they changed that I just didn't notice.
I'm sure
Slight-
there were a lot of changes like that.
Yeah.
I know one thing I remember reading about that people fans of the old trilogy didn't like is a lot of uh challenges camera angle was changed. It was like lower and closer to Spyro, which they said in some challenges made them more difficult because
Yeah.
it was just harder to see what was around you.
That's what they did in the turtle one. There, it was like an aerial view in the original, and then it was down closer to him.
Mhm. So speaking of those alternate character challenges, Spyro Year of the Dragon introduces additional playable characters. So there's Sheila the kangaroo. Her basically kind of specialty is just she can jump high. Go figure. There's Sergeant Bird, penguin. He flies and he shoots missiles. Bentley the Yeti. He's kind of strong and he has an ice club. And then there's Agent Nine the monkey, who basically, when you control him, you're doing either third person or first person shooting sections. Each character is introduced in a level dedicated to them, which kind of shows off their special abilities. And then they appear in other kind of normal Spyro levels as bonus challenges for more eggs with mixed results. So one thing, I guess, in terms of the challenges, one thing that is different in Year of the Dragon is they kind of introduced like portals in levels that would take you to kind of separate areas where your challenges were, which did allow them to have more variety with the challenges, which is something I appreciate. And sometimes those different portals would meet one of these characters, and they would go off into their own section. I am curious how you guys felt about these additional characters.
I thought it was a little, I thought it was a lot because I was expecting Spyro to get more power ups instead of the additional characters. And they just kind of seemed a little kind of like a letdown. I just didn't love playing as these characters.
I actually agree with that. I liked the idea of having like different playable characters with different abilities, but they really only had like one ability each that made them semi-unique, and most of them weren't really executed very well. Pretty much every single one of these characters I had like movement control issues in their levels. It kind of made them more of a hassle than something I look forward to in the game.
I feel that same way. I didn't really I can't think of any challenges involving the extra characters that I actually like doing. It just seemed like a chore, and I really hate Sergeant Bird. So
Woo!
I just have to. I can't hold back on that.
Served.
So bad.
Served. It was funny. The first time we played through the trilogy, I really liked the characters. But then the second time we played through, I found myself not enjoying them as much, which it's funny because overall, if I was asked, I would say I liked these characters. I enjoyed these characters. But all of my least favorite parts of this game, I was playing as those characters. That's what I would say when it comes to most of these characters. Like a lot of my least favorite parts in Year of the Dragon were playing as other characters. For example, Sheila. I love Sheila. I think she's sassy. She was great. But in one mission, it's two because you have to do it twice. There are these stupid little fireflies that are holding these bombs that are hopping their way to like free these dragon eggs from these cages. And you have to like, as Sheila, slam down on mushrooms to like push them down and slam down on rocks to destroy them. And if these fireflies ran into a rock or a mushroom, they would like blow up and you'd have to restart. And they just went in this stupid random around path, even though there's a really completely open direct path they could have just taken. The mushrooms like would pop back up after a while, so you couldn't even like memorize the path and just slam everything down super ahead of time. You actually had to time it because it would pop back up. And man, that mission, like Haley was doing that for like 45 minutes before she nearly threw the controller in frustration and was like, "Here, you do it. I hate this. I'm not doing it anymore." And Sergeant Bird was not too fun because his missile launchers just are really weird. Like they auto lock and there's like kind of a delay when you press the fire button to when they actually fire. It's just really weird to control them. Like I know that's why Haley hates him, and just I can attest that it's just like it's weird. It's
like
just weird, man.
everything about his whole character, like even how he talks annoys me, and how he looks.
Oh man, bit
And
personal.
I'm like they should have just made it something.
Yeah. Also, controlling him while flying was annoying because I think it's weird. I think I kept expecting the right stick to just turn the camera, but he would move when you move the right stick. It's like the left stick would move him, but also turn him, thus also turning the camera. It was just really weird how his flight controls worked.
What about Sparks?
Yeah. One thing I 100% love about Year of the Dragon is finally make Sparks a playable character. In these Sparks levels, you control Sparks in a bullet hell style mini game where you'd have an overhead view as he kind of makes his way through several rooms in this area before fighting a boss. I love Sparks levels. I absolutely loved them.
I also love them. And there you go. It's simple. It's easy. It's a character that's already, been in the Spyro universe forever. So, great playable character.
Mm-hmm. I can hop on board with that.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know, Paige, is there anything you want to say about the alternate characters?
No, I really didn't like playing Sergeant Bird, like you guys said. Yeah, they were just hard for me to use, so I just didn't like doing it.
Yeah, I think I actually played most of those levels.
Yep.
It's also like I know from there was a Spyro, like the original Spyro the Dragon speedrunner that I got into watching on YouTube for a time, and I remember he was at one point doing like a speedrun race against another guy who like the other guy hadn't been speedrunning Spyro that long, but his whole thing was he was going to use like cheats because he was playing on like a modded like a computer, so he was going to use mods. While the other guy was just playing on a PlayStation 1, couldn't use cheats. But the guy had been speedrunning Spyro for like 10 years, 12 years, I think. And I remember in that game, there were so many points where they were just crashing Year of the Dragon. And from that and other research I've done, it seems like amongst the like overall Spyro community, Year of the Dragon is like the least favorite game. And I think it's because of these alternate characters. And I mean, when I played it the first time, I did enjoy them. But playing through the second time, after 3 years, it's certainly like I still wouldn't say I didn't like them, but I do think they're just in it a little too much because at the end of the day, like I just want to play as Spyro. I just want, I want to play as a dragon, charge and flame and thing. So I can see why a lot of people have issues with your dragon for these characters.
They suck. So you can talk about
Right.
skill points, and
Yeah, so
we didn't do the skill points. So
No.
you just talk about
Yeah,
them.
I didn't know what you guys were talking about.
yeah, so the skill points, they're basically like little extra challenges that are in each game that kind of go across, like it'll always tell you what level the skill point is in and what you have to do, like if you look it up in the menu. They're, like I said, in each game, maybe an hour to actually just go through and get all the skill points. When we initially played through, years ago when it came out, we didn't bother with them because, as Noah had said earlier, either you don't get trophies for doing them, so I was just like, whatever, no point. But then when we played through, just a few months ago on Haley's account, I was like, let's do the skill points. Like, let's just do them because why not? And I mean, like I said, they're not bad, they're not fun. All they do is unlock concept art, which I mean is fine, I guess. It would be cooler if we didn't own this book called The Art of the Spyro Reignited Trilogy that I bought Haley that has all of that exact same concept art. But I mean, yeah, it's fun little challenges, I guess.
Which game was it? There's one of the games was harder to get them, and one was like you would pretty much get it just going through the level. Remember?
Yeah, Spyro Ripto's Rage was the hardest to get. Like there were some crazy hard challenges. Like you had to beat every boss without taking a single hit in Ripto's Rage, which, to be fair, you can absolutely cheese it, which is what I did.
Using that correctly, I'm proud of you.
Thank you. Yeah, I absolutely cheesed doing that, but I did try to do it legitimately, and man, Gulp especially is just such a hard boss to do that on. I props to anyone who can do that legitimately, because boy, did I not. And then I think it was Year of the Dragon was probably the one where we got the most without trying, because you can just, a lot of them are more, you'll do it just 100%ing the game anyway. The first game had the most like random ones, like there were several like find a random object in the level and destroy it kind of things like that.
A lot of them were just like flame all of the light posts or whatever.
Yeah, you just like find things and flame them. Yeah, I mean they're not bad. I think that's it for gameplay. Yeah, a lot of stuff in these 3 games. Nice little trilogy here. Now we get to my favorite. Notable trophies. So Spyro the Dragon, in the entire trilogy, every there's basically the same formula for trophies, which is every level has one trophy that you just have to do something in the level. A lot of it is, for the most part, automatic. Or like maybe you have to like kill 4 enemies in a row that you might miss when you're just going through the game, but it's not hard to do. But in Spyro the Dragon, my most notable is launch date, jump off every supercharged ramp in treetops, because treetops is a hard level, and the supercharged ramp puzzles are insanely difficult. Like that's something that our first playthrough I had to look up because I just could not figure it out.
We also had to look it up.
Very, very notable. Treetops is one of those famous hard level, like just super hard levels in games that I think, anytime anyone talks about Spyro the Dragon, they will probably mention, oh yeah, and Treetops, super hard, screw that level. Anyway, in Ripto's Rage, we've got Trouble No More, Clean Run in the Trolley. So in Breeze Harbor, there is a mini game where you have to ride on this trolley and collect all these gears and avoid dynamite and whatever other obstacles. Again, this is a more famous challenge in Spyro, especially among the Spyro community, because every time you fail, the guy says, "Oh, trouble with the trolley, eh?" And it became, I guess you could say like almost a meme among the Spyro community, that line. So that's why I included it, just because it's what's the word?
Iconic.
Iconic. Thank you. And then there's Bird is the Word, Flame the Pigeons First in Metro Speedway. I just like the name of the trophy. Noah, you get it?
Because of Family Guy.
Yeah. Classic. That was Noah's favorite episode of Family Guy in a time. And then Ollie Ollie Oxenfree, defeat the ox without taking a hit. in the level Metropolis, you have to fight this ox that he launches bombs at you, and you have to launch the bombs back at him to hit him. I don't. This trophy is just noteworthy to me because the second time we played through the game, I forced Haley to do it, and it was just fun watching her get frustrated with it, and then also me getting frustrated at her inability to do it.
Well, I just want to say that I did do it, and
She did it.
my palms were sweating. I was so nervous because not because of even the game, because of how judgy he is. And I'm like, sorry that I'm not a pro gamer. Like, I never tried to beat this ox without getting hit once.
Yeah,
And
you don't
this-
know how stressful that situation is until you're like in a boss fight and it's one with a very large health bar and you're down to your last hit. So you're like, okay, I gotta take half his health bar without getting hit again. And
Yes.
by the end of it, you're just a sweaty mess. And you did it.
And then you have him sitting beside you, like, do this, don't do. What are you doing? What are you? I'm like, oh my god. And didn't you say it was a platinum trophy?
No, it was a gold trophy. Gold trophy.
Well, gold is pretty good.
Yeah.
Anyway, I did that.
Like, I think that was technically the first gold trophy Haley ever earned.
It was well earned.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
Anyway, that's just a fun story. Spyro, Year of the Dragon, 8,000 Reasons to Kick Butt, Midnight Mountain, which Year of the Dragon does tell you specifically each level that you get each trophy in, which the first two games do not do. It's typically not that hard to figure out, but still, this is the only one that automatically tells you. Get Revenge on Moneybags, where after you complete the game and beat the sorceress, you get to chase him and flame him and charge him and get every single gem you gave him back, and I love it. Because I think you also get a dragon egg for doing it, because he kept one of the dragon eggs and was like, oh, I'm gonna take this to Avalard, sell it, and Spyro obviously not happy about that.
Yeah, that guy sucked.
Yeah, I love it because fuck that guy. I hate him so much. That's our notable trophies. Now we'll move on to our questions. So first question, favorite level. Let's go with Noah and Paige.
Oh, my favorite level. It's kind of like controversial, but I really like the bug farm.
Yeah.
Because for me, in Spyro levels, they fell into like a rut of different themes like ice, magic, wizard, sand, yeah. And this was something that kind of mixed it up for me. Although it does have that infamous super dash, course, and it is difficult, and it took me a long time to beat it, but I still really like that level.
That is interesting. I was not expecting that one.
Yeah.
What about you, Paige?
Yeah, I have to say that level too. It was different, and once we figured out, to throw the little balls at the bees to kill them, to me that's it was different than the other enemies we've had to face, and I enjoyed doing that because it was just different.
That's true. We were watching a video and they named that level as their top 5 worst, and they said it was difficult because of the wasps and their stingers, but we used that, like Paige said, the fireball as a projectile.
Yeah, we didn't really get stung by them much at all.
I see. That is very interesting. Haley.
Am I supposed to pick one level?
Like just any noteworthy level.
Pick a favorite game.
Well, that's Ripto's Rage.
Yeah.
For her. Everyone knows that.
Well, I like in the first game, I like that one that was dark. Was it
Dark Passage.
Dark Passage, but that's mainly because I just thought it was pretty. I mean, I like it, but a lot of the levels I just admire how nice they look.
Yeah.
But also more stand out to me in the second one. Like I like Fracture Hills and Magma Cove, and I like Hurricos because I like how it was really rainy and dreary looking, and I like the level in general. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just ones that I usually would be excited about playing.
I get you. I love the flying levels. I absolutely loved them. I loved having to kind of figure out the right pattern to take out all the enemies in. I just thought they were great. And also, I'll give special mention, I love Treetops. I know that's kind of one of the most infamous levels in Spyro history because of the large ramps, puzzles being very difficult. But I just thought it was cool. Like it's really Fire the Dragon, the first game, is the only one that really had supercharge be a huge aspect of some of the levels. And I just love that. The momentum puzzles. I thought they were really cool. And that's something that Ripto's Rage and Year of the Dragon never really did.
Because they were bad.
Oh, okay. Whatever.
Speaking of Ripto,
favorite boss battle. Ripto, I think, is by far the best boss fight in any of the games.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's 3 stages. You have to like collect orbs that then give you like a certain power up, which you would use to damage him. That he could also collect and then damage you. I thought it was really awesome. And it ended with you flying and super flaming him while he's on like a flying pterodactyl. It ends with him falling in lava, which the Reignited Trilogy cuts out. If you watch the original, you see him sink in that lava, and it's just so satisfying.
God damn.
But then he still appears in the epilogue alive, which is like, okay, we saw him fall into lava, but whatever.
Sure.
Yeah, that didn't
Yeah.
make sense.
Anyway, anything that you guys just feel of note you want to talk about that we maybe didn't mention yet?
Yeah, I just want to make sure that it's known that I think that Spyro is, especially the Reignited Trilogy. I mean, I don't really know about the originals, but I'm assuming they're pretty similar. But it's one of the most visually appealing games I've ever played. Like, everything is so interestingly designed. It's fun to look at. Even though, like I stated earlier, there's a lot of like repeated themes in levels. They're still really interesting, and I love their designs as well as the enemies themselves.
No, I have to completely agree. The game looks awesome. I think it's like, it's almost like you're playing like a cartoon is kind of how I feel about it, and I love that.
Yeah, there's a lot of times where I would just look around, like zooming in at just the details and the colors and everything. That looks really awesome, and a lot, especially with the Reignited, it looks so good.
Anything for you, Paige?
Yeah, I think it looks really nice. Yeah, like you said, playing a cartoon. See, that's how I thought a lot of games were, because that's like one of the only ones we played.
Also, I did want to mention we didn't talk about soundtrack. I love the music.
Yeah.
It also, you're given the option to play the game with the classic original music, which I think is cool. I think any sort of remaster should always have an option like that, because I'm sure, unless there's like licensing issues getting the music, I'm sure it's not that hard to put the classic music in there. But yeah, I think it's cool. Music was awesome.
So there's a level in the second game, Scalos Badlands.
Yeah.
Remember?
Uh-huh.
And there's a challenge where you have to collect bones.
I hate that challenge.
Well, I like it because at the end, when you get all the bones together, the skeleton does a little dance.
I don't like it because in the Reignited Trilogy, he flosses. And there's like, you can hear like air horns in the party music and stuff. And I'm like, oh man, they're trying too hard with this.
I hate to rush you, but we have to leave in 15 minutes.
Okay. Didn't know you had a hard out.
Well-
Could have told us that. Okay, what we didn't like about the game, Noah and Paige, anything you got?
Just the lack of additions in the sequels in terms of Spyro's abilities.
Yeah, I agree. It just kind of stayed the same. I was hoping he'd get more, get stronger throughout the games.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can understand that. I've just got 3 big things here. One, I think the first game is a little too simple. That's one thing I'll give Ripto's Rage, especially just giving him all those new abilities, because I think in the first game it's too simple. Like, specifically talk about like all the boss levels, those are ridiculously easy and simple. I wouldn't even really call them bosses. It's like they're just so stupid, which is a very big improvement with Ripto's Rage. Also, as much as I do like the music of this trilogy, music for Peacekeepers is top 2 worst songs in any game I've ever played. We hated it. We absolutely hated that music.
It's like I just couldn't wait to get out of the hub world.
And then also, Hunter and Moneybags are both probably in my top 3 most annoying video game characters of all time. I just hate Moneybags. I hate him. I hate him so much. He's the worst. And even Hunter, who is supposed to be on your side, just every time he talks.
Yeah, because he's like withholding things from you that you need on your quest. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I have this orb, but unless you beat this, I'm not going to give it to you. and he's supposed to be on your side.
Yeah, I pointed that out several times, like most did, where in Ripto's Rage especially, you would like they fixed it in Year of the Dragon, but in Ripto's Rage, you would always like he'd just be like, "Hey Spyro, like, hey, I found this cool thing, but you can't beat me at this game." And then you beat him, and he's like, "Cool, you can have this orb I found. I don't really have anything else to do with it." And I'm just sitting there like, kind of the whole reason we're here, man. Like, you know what that is? Why? It's the entire reason we're going around this level. Like, why? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just hate both. Do you have anything to add?
I hate the skateboarding.
Oh yeah, the skateboarding in Year of the Dragon.
Yeah.
What would you think of the skateboarding? Noah?
I thought it was weird. What did you say?
I thought it was almost impossible sometimes. Like we just could not do a certain challenge.
Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
that.
It was weird. It was just such a weird inclusion to me. Like, I didn't think they were bad to play. Personally, I didn't like hate them when I was playing it, but I was just like, where, like, in all the things you could have added to this game, what made you do this? Okay, replayability.
This is
Yeah.
a beat and delete for me.
That is very that just hurts.
There's
Yeah.
nothing more to do.
Oh yeah, you just replay them because they're fun, which I like I said we did not too long ago.
I don't know. The idea of replaying Spyro is like the idea of replaying a Lego game.
But you already replayed it. You replayed it with me.
No, that
Oh.
was my first time playing.
Oh, I
Yeah,
didn't know
I'd
that.
never played it before.
Oh, okay. Huh.
No, I think they're fun. I think playing through the whole trilogy in one all at once, I think, is a little less feasible because like we did that. I mean, 3 years ago, and then we did it, more recently. So I guess once every 3 years. All of the games themselves are short enough that I could see myself maybe like thinking like, oh, let me just play through the first Spyro game. Maybe even I won't play the whole thing. I'll just play a few levels. But it's certainly, I think, fun enough and short enough that I could see myself doing that. Anyway, final thoughts on the Spyro Reignited Trilogy.
Great game. It lives up to the original, I assume.
Yeah, I would say so.
Paige?
I enjoyed it. I've not played many video games, and I thought it was a really fun trilogy to play through.
It's certainly, I was surprised that the games held up as well as they did playing the remake. Collectathons were never really a big thing for me, I guess. And when the trilogy was announced and stuff, I thought, oh, it's exciting to play Spyro, but I wonder like how a simple collectathon platformer is going to hold up in 2018 with all the other games that I was playing around the time that were super intricate. And I was just surprised. I remember sitting through the first time playing with Haley, being like, man, this is fun. Like, I'm just really enjoying this. Yeah, that's it. So anyway, that's the Spyro Reignited Trilogy. Now, we're going to move on to the indie bit, the bit where we talk about indie games.
Yay.
So today, we're talking about Overcooked. So Overcooked is a pretty simple game. Basically, you're trying to prevent the end of the world by learning how to cook different dishes throughout history. The way the gameplay works, if you're playing by yourself, you control 2 chefs, or as the game is really built to be playing multiplayer, anywhere from 2 to 4 players, everyone controls a chef, and you have to run around a kitchen, cooking the different meals, chopping up vegetables, putting anything in like a pot that needs to be boiled, and plating the food properly, serving the food, washing dishes sometimes, while dealing with various obstacles the game decides to throw in your way. Noah, Paige, you guys have a lot more experience with Overcooked than Haley and I do. How do you guys enjoy it?
We love it. I love Overcooked. Super fun. We play it together, so it's just 2 people, which I have found it's a lot easier than playing with more people because it's too chaotic. But I love it because there's so many dishes that you have to make, and it's all about multitasking, and then the cabinets will start to move and different things like that. It's just a lot of fun.
Noah?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I love this game. I saw it played on YouTube once, and I knew it was a great co-op game that I wanted to try. And in practice, it's wonderful. The second one it doesn't really add too much mechanically, just, add some extra things. And mostly those kind of games for me are all about like new dishes to make and new maps. They have themes like pirate ship maps, like haunted house maps, ice, yeah, island theme, lava theme. There's all kinds. So did you guys like it?
This game stressed me out to the max. I just was so flustered. Like I liked it overall, but I don't know. It was just the time crunches and everything. I just got so flustered. And then I just felt like he was judging me with what I was doing. And
I actually agree with you. When we were trying to do the platinum trophy, get 3 stars on every level, that was really stressful and really hard sometimes. But at one point, we've been replaying the second one and playing the DLC. And at one point I was like, wait, why am I stressing out? We're not trying to get trophies or anything. It doesn't matter if we get 1 star, we're just playing for fun.
Yeah, and we're drinking while we're playing and having a good time. There's no need to get stressed out and try to get all 3 stars every time.
Exactly.
Once we learn that, it's been a great game.
I don't play games for fun.
well, if I play with you guys,
I don't
I
play
would very much enjoy this game.
Quote unquote, one of the super gamer pros.
So if I could play, I'm going to play with you guys later because what you're describing sounds so great. You just get a little beverage. You don't care about your stars. But listen, do you see who I'm playing with right now?
Yeah,
It's like I got to
get
get 5 stars. You
5 out of 3.
and then it's like you pick up the lettuce and the tomatoes. I'm gonna cook the burgers. What are you doing? Oh my god. I can't do that.
We've definitely had that conversation before, though.
Yeah.
He is so horrible to play in front of. Like I could do so much better if he leaves the room. Like I can't place like really anything with him.
I just.
And if he watches me play a solo game, he judges how I'm playing it.
Oh my gosh.
Like I played Shovel Knight and he was judging me, even though I was doing pretty good. I thought.
We're not talking about Shovel Knight right now, guys.
I know. Even you judged how I played Spyro, how I collected the gems and moved the camera. And
it doesn't make sense how there would be a gem. It's like, hey, there's a gem to your left right there. Oh, I see it. And then she'd run away from it. And I'm like, why aren't you collecting it? Grab it.
Well, she'll go back.
Well, but why not get it while you're there?
Well, I don't know. How did I beat these games in the year 2000 before you ever were here to watch me?
A miracle. I don't know. It's just
the age card.
I'm just saying, like, you're acting like I've never done this before. I don't think you even believe that I did it.
It doesn't make sense to me that the gem is 5 feet to your left. You could grab it now, but you're like,
well, I have my own way of doing it. People have different styles.
Some people like doing main objective.
No, you cut out there.
No, I think it just depends on how you play the game. I don't think there's a right way or a wrong way. And if your goal is to get everything, then by the end of the game, you're going to get everything. One way or another.
You're getting the same thing at the end. So.
Yeah, but it's just like you're there, it's saving time.
Well, I'm just trying to enjoy the experience.
I thought we were talking about Overcooked.
No, we're talking about Spyro.
Okay, well, let's get back, I guess, to Overcooked.
I'm used to playing games with Noah. Noah and I are both the same way, where without having to talk to each other, we get it, we do our assigned tasks, and we do decently well. And I'm sorry, you're just not as good at games as Noah is. And I get frustrated sometimes.
And again, I'm saying not everybody is a pro gamer.
I'm not a pro gamer.
Yeah,
Noah's not a pro gamer.
To adjust his standards.
We are pro
his
gamers.
Expectations.
Exactly.
We are true gamers.
Not everybody takes it as seriously.
Yeah, I support games for fun.
Play games. I have fun. I have fun when I play games.
Anyway, you want to know what the next indie bit is?
Oh, what's the next indie bit?
The next indie bit is Trover Saves the Universe, created by JR himself.
You're a piece of shit. I hate you.
Oh no. And here's why you're gonna hate it even more, Jaden.
I hate Justin Roiland. I hate him.
It was originally designed as a VR game.
I don't have a. Did you play it VR?
No. You play it just regular. It's just very obviously catered to a VR experience.
Why are you doing this to me, man?
That's all I'm gonna say about it.
Oh my god.
But it's very surprising. I think it might be the Justin Roiland experience you need. I'm just asking you to give it an honest chance like I give all your stupid games.
Parappa the Rapper is not stupid.
No. It's classic. All right, so do we want to say thank you to our guests?
Yeah. Thanks, Haley, for talking about games with us.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for
Thank you,
having
Paige.
us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
All right. So don't forget, new episodes every other Monday, except for Horizon, which came out on a Tuesday.
On a Tuesday.
I would like to say there were good reasons for that, but I was playing Horizon. Rate and subscribe. Tell us if you like our show or tell us if you don't, and tell us why. Tell your friends and enemies about the podcast, and follow our Instagram, the Super Gamer Bros, for updates on episodes. And you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, Super Gamer Bros, one word, capital S, capital G, capital B, if you want. And yeah, we'll see you guys next game.
And happy
Bye.
Valentine's Day.
And happy Valentine's Day.
All right, happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah.